Hello. I believe we should be live now. Hi. How's it going, everyone? My name is Mitchell Mander, and welcome to my live stream. Today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Horizons episode 118. Hattrem finally evolved. So, how was this episode overall? Well, before we get into that, I just want to say a few things here. For those that are new, usually what we do here is, I give it about 5 to 10 minutes for people to show up in the chat. And once they do, I start giving a summary of the episode, give my thoughts on the episode, assign a rating, and then give it over to the chat. And then we usually go on for about an hour, hour and a half. That's typically the length of these streams. And then, yeah. And then another thing that you hear in the background is the music. It comes from a separate stream, Video Game Study Lounge, a link in the description. It's lo-fi remixes of video game music along with some originals sprinkled in here and there. Check it out sometime. Anyways, let's see who's all here. Jimmy James, Delaway, hey, how's it going? Sharon's here, hi. I'll just call you Jimmy. You'll be here for the 119 to 136. Okay. That's kind of going into the future a little bit. Sup, Pokefan? Sup, Harlster? Which the reason why main characters Pokemon didn't evolve in the previous series is that they were either comedic relief, did not want to evolve, or their pre-evolutions are more popular and marketable. Okay. And you expected it to evolve. Okay. Pokemon 4. So the episode was pretty alright. Honestly, glad Hatterene evolved. She's definitely needed the evolution. Yep. I got some thoughts on this episode here in a minute, which I will be giving it. But I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend so far. Glad to see we have a decent crowd here already. If you could do me a favor and hit that like button, I would definitely appreciate it. Currently at 4 likes. Can we get to 10 likes, please? And thanks. And remember to vote in the poll. Currently, we have 6 votes. 8-7 is winning with 50% of the vote. 33% goes to 10-9, and somebody voted lower than 5. For the person that voted lower than 5, please tell me why. Or stay silent. There's someone out there that keeps putting lower than 5 out there, and I want to know who it is. So, yeah. I do hope we see Hatterene battle more and not push the sidelines again. Also, we have her learn Dazzling Gleam. Is it just me, or is Hatterene a bit cray-cray? Yeah, a little bit. Seems like it's personality. I think Anaha has 2 big sisters. Crocodile evolves in the next episode. I give this episode a 9 out of 10. Definitely better than last week's episode. Yep. That's where I'm at with it, too. It was a good episode. But I will give you my thoughts on that here momentarily. I'm just looking up a few things really quickly. Okay, anyways. Pokemon Horizons 9. As you mean 9 out of 10? You don't need to keep saying Pokemon Horizons over and over again, Jimmy. I won't like the evolution in terms of transformation. Was very underwhelming. Yeah, I'll get into that in a little bit. I don't know what to rate this episode. Can't decide whether I give this episode an 8 or a 9. I think the crocodile will evolve in the next week's episode. I feel like that preview, the scene of him jumping in the sky, evolution. It's an evolution moment. Yeah, that's a good chance it evolves there. That was kind of similar to what happened with Sprigatito and evolving back earlier on in Horizons. When I mean earlier on, I mean the end of Arc 2. Goldenrod theme. I'll touch on the preview quickly in the next episode. Glad Kilowattrel is actually being used. I am too, and we will get to that later on in the stream. Remember, Fuecoco jumped up when he first evolved, so it could be a callback to that. Could be happening. Sup, Thomas? I still suspect that the writers are baiting us into thinking it will evolve. Well, we'll see what happens. This week's evolution was I was pinning as less likely to happen, and it ended up happening. So. So if we're getting another 2 evolution episodes back to back, we need a little break from evolution. So I'm not expecting any evolutions in December. Okay. Charcadet is probably going to happen later on in this arc. Late January or between mid-February, maybe. It seems suspicious that Roy is having a rematch so soon, especially because Roy didn't get any focus since. Guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully he picks up on a few things. Hey Jimmy, let's chill, please. I know you're just kind of having fun in the back, but let's try to contribute to the chat, please and thanks, and not just putting down random stuff. Please and thanks. I'm expecting Charcadet to evolve in March. Okay. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about this episode before I delay any further. So where Jimmy said yes, that's where we're going to stop off at the chat for the moment. You can keep chatting. I'll catch up later on, but for now, I'm going to give my thoughts on this episode, a summary of the episode really quickly. So, yep. So for this episode, Anne is actually the one that approaches Liko, as Liko's Pokemon are eating their food, to do some Ditto Block hunting. So you can, do their tasks for the day. So, yeah. One thing that's noticeable right off the bat is that Anne notices something with Hattrem. And also Meowscarada wanting attention. When Liko's giving attention to the others, it jumps in there and wants attention. So, being a kitty. But anyways, they go and they do their Ditto block hunting, which was kind of fun to watch. Although it seems like a Hattrem is putting up a little bit with Meowscarada and Charcadet and allowing them to do what they want. And Liko begins to wonder, if Hattrem is holding back. And Anne actually notices this too, and actually brings up the fact that, and this is something new, she's actually a middle child. She has an older sister and a younger brother. So we got some Anne development here. And she thinks that she can relate to Hattrem for that reason. So as they're making their lunch, and they're, Charcadet is doing its practice battle with a Samurott. Liko and Ann are making their lunch. Hattrem goes over to help out Liko, and that's when Liko expresses appreciation for Hattrem. We get a little bit of a flashback scene, and it was a really nice scene which touches Hattrem, which starts to cry. They hug, and yeah, it evolves as a result. I like how when Hattrem evolves into Hatterene, Liko basically is like being covered by Hatterene, which I thought was kind of funny. A funny way to figure out that your Pokemon evolved. Which Anne suspects is a happiness evolution. But anyways, they're still collecting those Ditto blocks. Hatterene actually ends up gathering 3 of them while they weren't paying attention. So Anne goes off to go and collect some. Liko ends up going into a cave. There's a Ditto that they come across before I go any further that doesn't really like fighting. They also found a Ditto that was a different color. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Anyways, the Ditto runs into the cave and gets surrounded by a bunch of Electrics and Electos. And can't speak. Ends up getting bullied here, so Liko comes in to save the day. Charcadet actually shows that it's actually getting a little bit stronger and actually helps out. And seemingly is doing fine handling them on its own. Masquerada jumps in and also helps out as well. But then there's a giant, not an alpha, but it's a giant Electros, and it's kind of scary. So initially they're going to run off, but Hatterene actually shows up and steps in and is like, hey, I'm going to handle things. And ends up hitting it with Psycho Cut, knocks it out, heals it, and it tries to attack again, and it basically rinses, repeats, which was a little funny segment. Until they all end up running away and allow Liko and the others to get through the cave safely. She ends up coming across Anne. They express their appreciation for one another, seemingly. Then the episode ends with Dot and Roy meeting Hatterene, or seeing Hatterene for the first time. And then revealing that Miss Briere has actually figured out something about Terapagos. So yes, that is the episode. So overall, I actually like this one. It is a lot better than last week's episode, in my opinion. In fact, this is my favorite episode of this arc so far. I thought it was a pretty good episode. It was good development for Hatterene. I liked the callback. It was really nice. I thought that was a really nice touch the episode definitely needed. And, even though Hatterene was the main focus here, Liko's other Pokemon actually got some moments to shine in the episode as well. So I think they did a pretty good job there. Obviously, Terapagos didn't get anything because Terapagos, we're going to learn some more about Terapagos in next week's episode. So, but for the others, Masquerada and Charcadet, they were active in this episode. They were doing things in the episode, which I thought was pretty nice. So that's the good stuff. I will say when it comes to the actual evolution, it was a little underwhelming the way they kind of animated it a bit. It kind of came off a bit, underwhelming, so to say. So that's unfortunate. So that kind of brings the episode down a little bit, unfortunately. I liked the way it evolved, but the actual evolution itself was not presented the best. So yeah, I'd say this episode for me is somewhere between a 7 and an 8, maybe a 7.5 for me. How about that? But I still thought this was a pretty solid episode overall. Good development for Hatterene, Liko, her Pokemon, and also Anne, surprisingly. I've been wanting more from Anne in the series, and, hey, this episode delivered at least a little bit. She was there to pretty much, I like how she related with Hatterem, being the middle child. It was nice. So at least we got Anne getting some focus here, even if it was just a little bit. I will say I was hoping that Liko would have a proper battle against an opponent. We had even though Dot's battle with Carmen was a joke battle, I would like an actual battle for Liko to be nice. But hey, she got an evolution, she got development, so I'll take that. Anyways, let's see where we left off at the chat, so kinda gotta catch up because you guys oh my goodness, guys. Okay, so starting off with where I left off at in the chat, Thomas says, I'm very curious as to what story arc they will cook up for Charcadet to acquire the armor to evolve. I'm kind of curious about that too. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Quaxwell, if he does evolve, I'm guessing will evolve maybe February. It might be soon. We'll see. Liko is inside Hattrem's body. Charcadet has gotten faster in battle and also wanted to throw hands, yeah. So it's improving. And just wanted Liko to find her shiny Ditto and get bragging rights for catching it off-screen trust. Oh, I see. Also, I forgot how good shiny Ditto is, so this episode was a nice reminder of that. Both Hatterene and evolutions were based on the different emotions. The first evolution being anger and the second evolution being based on love and friendship. That is pretty nice to see. Liko is an only child, yeah, we know that. Anlor was also something I didn't expect. Yep. Pokemon reactions to Hatterene evolving. Yeah, they were funny. Like how all of Hatterene's evolutions have been tied to emotion. Yep, it kind of fits with its character, which is nice. There was a shiny Ditto block. Yep, Hatterene is a bit of a tsundere. I don't know if a tsundere. I don't get tsundere. I think she's morally dubious, so to say, but yeah. Well, we've seen that in the anime before, so it's just that this one is particularly close with its trainer and not a wild Pokemon. Creepy smile, yep. Yeah, a certain episode in the series that shall not be named towards the end had a Hatterene that was very much like that. Hatterene attacks and heals multiple times. Like how Hatterene has that creepy smile. I kind of thought the stream I was watching on episode live then glitched when the Electros fight happened because it kept looping on repeat. And they were just repeating the animation. And I give them a little bit of slack there just because it was just a joke where it's just like they were just rinsing repeating until it finally gave up. I mean, there was lazy animation. Let's not call it lazy, okay? It's not lazy. It's called, budget and also time. And the series clearly is, like, pressed on time to get this stuff done. So I wouldn't call it lazy. It's the animators are already overworked as it is, so let's just try not to say they're lazy or anything. The single teardrop from Hatterene triggered the evolution, which was nice. It's just that the rest of the evolution could have been better, but we could have needed more time. I think this will be the first Pokemon series to evolve all the main characters' Pokemon, and finally got something to... So I'm happy for that. Me too. Kind of weird how I don't have much to say. Hatterene just evolved, and after that it was pretty much it. Now, not much to talk about. It's just kind of funny that it was just beating up the Electros. Haven't you noticed that Hatterene seems to be a psychic attacker so far? Or physical attacker so far? Yeah. Brutal Swing. Does it still have Brutal Swing? Oh, it's going to be... If it does, it's going to be interesting to see it with Hatterene. Does Alt have any siblings? Don't. Not that we know of. Or that have been presented in the series thus far. Hatterene gives Yandere vibes, but in a platonic sense, yeah. Very overprotective of his trainer, which is nice. Hi, Jimmy. Are we going to contribute to the chat, or are we just going to sit here and just say hi or like put symbols down? Because I'm kind of I'm asking you to either contribute or you can just chill. But like, yeah, let's try to, if you're gonna chat in here, let's contribute to the chat, okay? I don't want to say that again, so please. It's an evolution scene outside of a battle. It did not need to be well animated. Okay, fair enough. Could have been better, though, but oh well. I hope Alt doesn't have any siblings. I wish Liko caught the shiny Ditto. Yeah, but like we kind of got a, you know, we got a bigger fish to fry here with a certain Pokemon evolving here. And Liko catching a new Pokemon, I feel like if she were to do that, it would be overshadowed by the evolution. So gotta like, how do you say, when you're like doing these episodes, you gotta make sure you're giving like ample focus to the character that is the focal character, I guess. Stuff like a capture would probably distract and would be better suited for a separate episode. Hopefully in the next week's episode, Kilowattrel takes out one of Drayden's Pokemon. That would be nice. That would be cool, but I don't know. We'll see. Actually wish Anne caught the shiny Ditto. Actually, yep, you know, that would have been nice since Anne's not the major character here. Her catching it wouldn't really affect too much, right? Also, she needs a new Pokemon because Liko's up to 4 now and she's still at 2, presumably? Unless I'm missing a Pokemon. Because she's got Sandslash and Samurott. In fact, I am looking that up right now, because to my knowledge, those are her only 2 Pokemon. Yep. Unless you want to count Rotom Phone, which we don't count that. So this means Liko's development will be shifted more to Charcadet. Well, I mean, that's going to be next, because, hey, Meowscarada and Hatterene fully evolved. And Charcadet, most recent Pokemon, hasn't evolved yet, so that evolution is going to happen at some point. And then Terrapagos doesn't evolve, so would have been a nice little moment for her. Yep. I will at least take the like crumbs that we got from Anne in this episode as like some nice things for her. Anne only has 2 Pokemon. Yep. Actually, I don't think it is deserved for Roy to take out one of Drayden's Pokemon, as he lost. You mean lost so badly? Only 2 episodes ago, and he had no focus since. It will depend on how. The only thing I can counter argue to that is that, I'm wondering if he is actually going to be in a situation where he's back, where he's only got 1 Pokemon left and he's backed into a corner. Because Nimona and Drayden basically backed him into the corner with 1 Pokemon and he lost both times. So I'm wondering if he's catching on to that, and maybe he's learned how to turn the tables back on them, on his opponent, or evens the playing field, so to say. It would be nice if that came full circle. I've been bringing that up the last few weeks, so we will see if that ends up happening, but those 2 losses probably gave him some experience, and he's been kind of just chilling, taking his training at, his own pace, but yeah, it'd be nice to have gotten like something before that, but kind of like he did with the Rhyme battle, where like he lost, and then, he got basically back into his groove after that and then ended up winning. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But him taking out one of his Pokemon I don't think is the end of the world there. I think it would show some growth if he at least took out one of his Pokemon. They're there for training, so the assumption is they are going to improve as trainers. Some way, somehow. Alt at least becoming less stubborn and, taking in account to things he didn't really understand about Pokemon, as we learned in that episode with him and Lacey. Liko got Hatterene here, Dot had a gag battle. So, yeah. So hopefully Roy gets something out of this. She should have caught a couple more Pokemon in Blueberry Academy. And, yeah, maybe. I love how nowadays technically everyone has a Rotom compared to Gen 4 times where it was understandably mistook for a legendary mythical Pokemon. Oh, yeah. I mean, even though a Pokemon is fully evolved, they can still get development. Well, yeah, they can learn new moves. They can get focus in one way or another. I don't know. I don't like the BBA very much. I want them to travel across Unova, which I'm not. I would like that, but I don't know. I don't expect that at this point. Unless somehow they meet up with the other Rising Bolt tacklers and they end up going across to Unova for a little bit, that would be cool, but my expectation is that this is our Unova representation for the series. Which makes sense since it is the DLC from Scarlet and Violet, and I want the DLC from the games to at least be showcased. We didn't get Isle of Armor last time, and this time around we got both Kitakami and Blueberry Academy, so we got both DLCs, so that's nice, but it is kind of a little bit restrictive. It's, Kitakami is a smaller region, and Blueberry Academy, we're all, under the sea, so to say, in a dome. But yeah, I wish the Blueberry Academy was, maybe, a little bit longer. Because if this is ending next week, then we really, ran through this fast. I was hoping we'd be here at least through December, but that's just me. I can see maybe an arc where Crocodile evolves and then being bigger, more bulky. With it being bigger and more bulky, Roy will have to learn different battle strategies on using it. I want them to go to Relic Castle or Desert Resort. That'd be cool, but yeah. I believe Hatterene has Confusion, Heal Pulse, Healing Wish, and Psycho Cut. So Healing Wish needs to go for Dazzling Gleam. Not gonna happen. Maybe we see some Unovan Pokemon join the crew of our ship. Yeah, that's probably what the best bet, I would say, because you don't be surprised if some Pokemon just roamed onto the ship and they come back like, oh yeah, these Pokemon just showed up. We've had that happen in the past, so. But yeah, as much as I would like to go to Unova, I don't really expect it. But I like surprises, so we'll see. We don't even know what Miss Briere found out. We also don't have the episodes past next week's episode, so which we will probably be getting that very much pretty soon. We could be getting the very next episode and then the rest of them in the next week, so. I think they will be tasked to leave BBA, go around Unova battling the Recruiting Pokemon, and then come back to BBA later. Maybe. We'll see what Miss Briere tells us in the next episode. And we'll have to see if Crocodile does indeed evolve or not. Whew. I think Roy will get Mega Lucario Z. What is Mega Lucario Z? I know we have a new Mega Zorora. a few new megas that are coming in Mega Dimensions, but Mega Lucario Z, I don't recall that. Will the anime show Mega Zorora? I don't know. What rumor? I don't know what you're talking about. If it's a rumor, then it's probably people making stuff up. I did see someone say, oh, Freed's gonna come up with Mega Zorora. That's what he's been doing this whole time, and like... Yeah, no. Bro, I'm telling you right now, Freed's got all Gen 1 Pokemon. He's gonna show up and he's gonna have a Mewtwo or something. More likely than Mega Zorora. He's like, yeah, I just found this Pokemon. It's probably gonna help us, I think. Also, yeah, what are people's thoughts on Mega Zorora? It's okay. Meowscarada is the older sister. Hatterem is Hatterene is the middle child, and Charcadet is the little brother. Kind of like Anne, right? Older sister, middle child, and then younger brother. But then what does that make Terapagos? Wouldn't Terapagos technically be older than all of them? Even though it acts like a baby. Terapagos the baby grandpa. Before I go any further, I just want to say again, hey, thank you guys for checking out the stream. If you could hit that like button, I definitely appreciate it if you haven't already. Currently at 7 likes. Let's get to 10 likes. Please and thanks. And remember to vote in the poll. 10-9 and 8-7 are currently tied. They are locked in a tie. Someone voted lower than 5, and I would really like to know who voted lower than 5 and why you did not like this episode. Because somebody keeps showing up in here and voting lower than 5, and then they're not participating. Either that or I got someone that's hate watching. What about... Oh, yeah. No... He'll have two Mewtwo. He'll have two Mewtwo's for both of its forms. One for X and one for Y. How does that make sense, you ask? I'll be taking no further questions. Okay. You're just flexing over here. Mic drop. Boom. What you gonna do about it now? You think Roy will beat Drayden in the next week's episode? Hard to say. If Crocodile does evolve, it could turn the tides of the battle, but yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if Freed got a new Pokemon or not. You also have to factor in the fact that he's technically under surveillance by the Explorers. And it took him a little bit before he was able to send that call out to the Rising Volt Tacklers, so... If he were to try to catch a new Pokemon, I feel they'd be on to him, you know? Unless he's doing it in secret. Then again, we got Diana that's catching new Pokemon, like, literally in her old age. Alright, one more like to 10, guys. Oh, I like this lo-fi remix. Alright, guys. I guess we can all talk about what do you think is coming next? We know we have this battle, this rematch between Roy and Drayden. So, after this episode, do you think we are for sure leaving Blueberry Academy? Do you think that maybe we're staying for a little bit longer? Or what do you think Miss Briere found out about Terrapagos? And do you think that we are going to get new Rise and Bolt Tackler members here late into the series? Or maybe not members, but hey, they're just joining them on the crew. Like Penny and Carmen, and maybe Nimona later on. As they maybe figure out a plan to take down Spinel and Exceeding Explorers. And do you think maybe this will lead us back to Area Zero? You know, we kind of went there, and you know, we weren't there very long. Just some thoughts. See people throwing the mind-controlled Freed or AI Freed. I still see people throwing the mind-controlled Freed or AI Freed ideas. And I'm just wondering when they'll lay those to rest. I guess we'll find that out whenever, like, Freed shows up. If he's the real deal, then he's the real deal. But if he's not, then I guess people were right about him being like some AI-controlled freak. Hope the BBA arc doesn't end this soon. As the new members, I don't see new humans joining, then there'll probably be one or two more captures, yeah. I would like Alt to get at least one more Pokemon. It would be nice. You know, if we do go back to Area Zero, you know, it'd be kind of nice if Roy got Sandy shocked. Just because he did bond, or they had that battle with it back then, and, you know, enjoyed his singing. So if we did go back to Area Zero, that would be a little nice thing. But at the same time, I'd be kind of frustrated because I'd be like, well, could have had that capture like earlier this year. I mean, we went back to Paldea and we got Charcadet and Gimmighoul after a year of them showing up in the series. So. You never know. But then again, Roy's already got a pretty stacked team. Especially if Crocodile does evolve. Technically, you already got a new Pokemon in Lucario. But what about another new one? But most likely the most new members we're going to get is new wild Pokemon joining the gang. Yeah, probably. I'm just throwing that out there just because of the opening, but I see people saying like, oh, we're going to get like a crew together to combat against Spinel. If that's the case, just bring Ann on board. We already got Alt, but Ann would be kind of nice, but I think Ann's going to stay behind at Blueberry Academy. I like how Ann is just like going all over the place, like... She was a exchange student for the Terrestrial training, the class that Naraja Academy has, and now she's at Blueberry Academy. So she's going all over the world. But most likely, the most new members we're gonna get as well. Oh wait, I already read that. Sorry. Actually, I would like to see Sodeo popping back up again. That'd actually be kind of funny after a year. He'd be like, hey, I could probably be the new member, the new leader of the Rise and Bolt Tacklers. Or maybe he's aware that their reputation got tainted by what the Explorers did. 'Cause, I mean, Explorers, they were, 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 Or what's his dub name? Like, it's what? Yes or something? I don't know. But we have Boapedia that can tell us, so that's what I'm going to look up right now because I don't watch the dub, so I don't know. Yeah, it is what? Well, yes. Why not? What a name. Oh, Mark Whitten voices him in the dub. Kazuya. That's interesting. Whoa. Okay, got a little quiet up in here. And to be completely honest, we're at that point where we're running out of episodes again, so we don't really know what's coming next. So, you know, we pretty much talked about this episode and the next episode. Is there anything else you guys want to chit-chat about today? I know we're only about 40-ish minutes into the stream. We usually go an hour and a half, but if you guys got anything else, go ahead. His actual name is Wyatt B. Wyatt B. No wonder he goes by YS. Dang, that's unfortunate. But yep, I'll just say before I go any further, again, if I could get at least one more like here, we can get the 10 likes before the stream ends. Be awesome if you did that if you haven't voted already, or liked the stream already. And vote in the poll. 10-9 is now in the lead? By quite a bit? 58%? 8-7 is at 33%. Someone still had that one vote for lower than 5. 8%. I can imagine Armors and Ceruledge will battle each other. Probably for training, yeah. Maybe one last prep before the final battle. Between Liko and Amethio. It'll be a nice little sparring match for the two of them. Shows how far Charcadet has come. He's already starting to show signs of really improving here, especially this episode showed that. And he still wants to get stronger and protect his trainer. Yeah. You guys got anything else for me today? Because if there isn't anything else, I'm pretty much out of stuff to talk about for today's stream. And we could probably wrap things up early if there's nothing else. We need that 2v2 battle with Roy and Freed. That'd be cool. Pikachu Charizard versus maybe either Crocodile or Skeledirge, or yeah, in Kilowattrel. Would be nice. I got nothing else. I feel like this episode is one of those where there's only really one major talking point. Yeah, I did like some of the funny stuff with Hatterene beating up that Electros and healing it and then rinse and repeating. It was just a funny moment. I can see Lucario riding Kilowattrel when Skeledirge can't ride it anymore. Yeah, maybe. Then we can get that dynamic going. But, again, I don't really have anything else, so I'll give this as the last call. Is there anything else? Also, one more like, please, and thanks. And last call for votes in the poll. Give it a minute here. Going once. Going twice. Okay, if that's the case, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up early today. So, we'll be getting some new episode titles here really soon. So, there'll be more to talk about here probably in the next few weeks. But yeah, we'll end this stream a little bit earlier than normal, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. We got 13 votes. 10-9 wins. I'd still say this is like maybe an 8 if I'm being generous, but let's give them... We'll make it an 8.5. Sound good? Sounds good to me. So, anyways, guys, that concludes today's stream. For this upcoming week, we have Thanksgiving, so there's probably not going to be... I won't be streaming, obviously, Thursday, or probably even Friday as well. I'm going to try and do some off-screen grinding for Legend ZA and try to get to the end of the Infinite ZA Royale and then see what follows that. And that'll probably be a stream sometime this upcoming week. I'm not sure when exactly. But we'll figure it out. We're going to be doing a stream. One of our community members, Devin, wants me and my buddy Nick, aka Fizzle Wizard, to do a little reaction to a video he was in. I think it's about an hour long, so we'll be doing a stream where we react to the stream and kind of talk about it amongst ourselves. So that'll be kind of like a special thing. It's kind of like when we reviewed his manga that he put out a little while back. So we'll be figuring out what day we're going to be doing that here soon. So this week will be a little bit less active. If we do get an episode title and it's interesting enough, I'll probably make a video when I get a chance. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I got for today's stream. So if you are here, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you're at. And I will see you all later. Bye now.